What could that do to the Arsenal dressing room after that run we've been talking about?
Well, we know it's in there. We know they can do it when they get that ball forward with a little bit more urgency, with a bit more fizz in the passes in terms of getting it into the front men, because we said they're the guys that will cause the damage. They're the good players. Instead of knocking it around at the back when it's slow, with no intent, with no energy. And that, for me, was the difference, and getting it forward and getting Ozil on the ball, who West Ham just couldn't cope with in that second half, and getting it into Martinelli, getting it into Aubameyang, getting it into Pepe, the guys that will do the damage.
I guess it's when you're standing in the technical area or in the dressing room as a manager, you're tearing your hair out as to why they can do that in one half of a football game and yet they start the way they did and produce what they did in the first half.
Yeah, I mean, what they did in the first half obviously wasn't good enough, and they would know that. They're not no fools. I'm going to give Freddie a bit of credit. I think he must have gone in the second half and told them to step up, not necessarily as a team up the field too much, but he pushed Ozil on, and he was a definite 10 in the second half. He was drifting in behind the midfield of West Ham. Declan Rice could not find the answer. He wasn't, as a 6, he wasn't deep enough. He wasn't nowhere near him. When Ozil was picking the ball up, he was just drifting past him. He could not get his legs back in the way. And everything good come through Ozil, but they have to find him the ball. And I think they moved it a little bit better. When they pass it around in their back third, they just give the ball there all the time. It looked like they're nervous doing it. When they actually get out into the halfway line, then they're okay. And they can get the threats, because Aubameyang is taking them away. Pepe runs them away, and he creates that little bit more space and opens it up for the number 10, which is Mesut Ozil. And I said at the beginning of the game, he's almost, for me, he's one of the best number 10s in the game. Certainly in the Premier League, but on his day. He doesn't have his day all of the time, but he needs help to get on his day. When he's coming deep, it's not effective. When he's in their final third, he can see a pass and he gives it at a correct weight and he opens teams up. And
they have finishes. It was an incredible 9 minutes, wasn't it, with those goals? For
it was unbelievable. It was great movement from Martinelli, the first goal. What he does is just comes in there, which creates the space down the left-hand side. He knows where he wants to be, where he can do the damage, in and around that 6-yard box, second 6-yard box, and his goal-scoring record when he gets into the team is excellent.
That's 8 in all comps, Alan.
Yeah, and that's the movement I was on about there. He just comes inside there, which leaves that space to run in down that line and whip the ball in, get him into the box where he does the damage, and it was a wonderful finish and a well-worked goal from Arsenal. They moved the ball quicker, they got the ball into the final third quicker, and they got the reward.
Did you sense a momentum shift from that moment on?
Oh, the confidence flooded through the Arsenal team, and negativity in the crowd just breathed down, anxiety to the West Ham players, and from then on, it looked like one team was going to win the game. Martinelli, excellent. Europa League has been brilliant for him. For a lot of teams, it's an inconvenience. For that boy, it's been a stepping stone for him to play in the Premier League. He must think now, what's all the fuss about? He's got a fantastic goal-scoring record every time he starts. I think he deserved his start tonight, and I was pleased that he scored the goal.
What about the club record signing? You stood up for the finish for the second, Pepe.
Great finish when he gets there. See Ozil getting on the ball. See how he just drifts for the ball, almost like he's not moving. Correct weight, right side. Do not let him inside. Masuaku sticks his hands behind his back. You'll see it in a replay. As soon as he sticks his hands behind his back, he loses balance, can't get anywhere near him. You don't want him to cut inside you. Watch him. The arms behind his back. Oh, OK, I'll take that little split second, what you're doing, making that ridiculous action of putting your hands behind your ball, and I'm going to come on my good side, and I'm going to whip it past your goalkeeper into the top corner. Shocking defending.
But that was the difference,
good finish,
wasn't it? I mean, the confidence has then flown. Everyone now, instead of turning their back on the ball, everyone now wants the ball. The ball all of a sudden is being passed forward quicker, with a bit of intent, with a bit of energy into their game now, and that was a huge difference.
Yeah. Where would Arsenal be without Aubameyang's 11 league goals this season?
It is unbelievable. I mean, he is a top goal scorer. He must be going mad in that team. I know he's still getting goals, but he must be so frustrated. Very good movement from him in the first place. In, behind, again, very difficult to pick up. West Ham are stood with their arms in the air, the back four. He's not offside at all. There's his first movement there to go in behind. Gets it, little flick. watch him go again. He's moving, he's always on the move, and West Ham can't pick him up. Trying to play offside, he's not offside, it's a wonderful finish. The problem Arsenal have got with him now is he's got 18 months left on his contract. They're going to have to make a decision on him, because if he's not going to sign that contract, they would have to sell him in the summer.
I think it's a great club for him. I think he wants to sign, but he's going to watch very, very carefully what happens between now and the appointment of the new manager. Someone he's happy with, and they convince him they're going to move into the transfer market and get better players to the football club. I think he stays. I think it's a great club for him.
You would like to think Arsenal as a club have learned their lessons over the years about losing.
You would hope so.
Players for nothing.
Yeah, but their recruitment needs to be better, Steve, because he's seen a few transfer windows of Aubameyang, and he's seen poor players coming into the club. And it's obvious to everyone to see, defensively they're not good enough, but the powers that be are doing nothing about it. And the managers who are coming into the football club feel like it's not really an area they need to strengthen. If they strengthen that, they get better midfield players. Listen, you're absolutely right, spot on. And they're 1 point behind Tottenham. 1 point, 2 points behind Manchester United. And how bad have Arsenal been this season? I mean, we're right to criticise them. They have been bad. But it just shows you how bad everyone else has been.
Well, Tottenham have only been good in the last 3 or 4 games, haven't they?
Yeah. And Manchester United have turned the corner.
Yeah.
Talking of Aubameyang, we can get his thoughts now alongside Mesut Ozil.
Guys, well played. Over. It's been a while.
Then all of a sudden, the ball was getting delivered into the final third a lot quicker, a lot more. Then the danger men, Aubameyang, Martinelli, Pepe, could go and do their stuff, and much better from Arsenal in that second half. It makes you wonder why they haven't done it on Thursday, and they didn't do it in the first half.
Much better from Arsenal. What of West Ham in the second half, Tim?
Well, them Arsenal fans are pleased they never went home at half-time, because they must have been tempted. But they stayed around. That man in the picture there, Ozil, was the man of the match for me. Orchestrated everything in the second half. He had double the amount of passes in the second half that he did in the first half. West Ham were absolutely disgusting in that second period. As soon as Arsenal scored that Martinelli goal, they folded like a pack of cards. It was a capitulation of really, really extreme. I'm not sure as a manager how you can answer. You need to answer questions to your board of directors when your team fold like that. That is not good enough. They're on such a disgusting run at the moment. They win at Chelsea, probably saves his job. That's a good performance and a good win. But their performances in 2 derbies here against Tottenham, biggest game of the season, and Arsenal are horrendous. I cannot find a worse word for it than that. It's just not good enough, and they have to do something about it. Them fans demand more than that, and they're not getting it. It is really bad, Steve.
And those West Ham fans that had stayed at the end, you heard them booing for Arsenal. It's the first time in 8 years they've been behind at half-time in an away game in the Premier League and gone on to win it. Pepe has his smile, he has his goal. Leicester rolled on yesterday. Newcastle came from behind at St James's Park. Sheffield United won away from home and are still unbeaten on the road. A point for Brighton and Wolves. And in tonight's turnaround, West Ham in front and in control at half-time. But those 3 goals for Arsenal in the second half give them a much-needed 3 points. And it's enough to get them into the top half of the table, the Gunners, as well. They're on to 22 points now. Ironically, only a point behind their North London rivals, Tottenham Hotspur in 7th, and only 2 behind Manchester United in 5th. A reminder, after Leicester's win yesterday, the gap at the top between the top 2 is back to 8 points. Leicester 6 clear of the champions, Manchester City. But it is very worrying reading for West Ham United. 16 points, 5th from bottom, and just a point above relegation. Southampton, 3rd bottom on 15, entertain West Ham at St Mary's on Saturday in what has become a huge game at the bottom of the Premier League. So we come from the London Stadium on that win for Arsenal. 3 goals in just under 9 minutes. Martinelli's first in the Premier League, another one for Pepe, and the top scorer. And the Gunners are smiling again. It's a first Premier League goal and his first Premier League start for Martinelli. A stunner from Pepe, who then turned provider for the 11th league goal of the season for Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang for a stunning second half turnaround for Arsenal. And only Jamie Vardy has got more Premier League